Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, if you're operating in the talent space at all, maybe you're a big employer, maybe a staffing
It
agency,
doesn't matter the size, really.
right? The job market these days feels less like a friendly competition and more like an arms race, frankly. The big challenge is always finding the right fit, the right person.
And finding them fast
Yeah.
before someone else does.
Exactly, before your competitor snaps them up. And that time crunch, that pressure, is precisely what our source material is looking at today. We're synthesizing excerpts from Competitive Edge, leveraging AI for faster talent matching in a crowded market.
Hmm.
Catchy title.
Huh. Well, the research itself is pretty clear. It argues that the real competitive edge right now belongs to organizations using AI algorithms to connect candidates and roles.
So our mission today is basically to cut through the buzzwords, synthesize the core methods, the how it works,
Mechanisms, yeah.
and critically, the actual results, the quantifiable advantages this AI tech brings. We're not just talking simple automation here.
No, not at all. It's about how AI gives organizations this ability to connect the right candidates to the right roles.
And doing it fast, with, well, apparently shocking precision.
That speed and accuracy combination, that's the fundamental shift. Uh, the core mechanism really boils down to using machine learning combined with advanced data analytics.
Okay.
So unlike, manual processes that kind of go step by step.
Linearly, yeah.
Exactly. This combination lets organizations process huge amounts of data, lots of different variables all at once, and instantly surface the top candidates.
Okay, let's unpack that acceleration piece because that's where the source really kicks off. Section 1 gets into how AI achieves this speed boost.
Mm-hmm. And the headline number is pretty impressive. Cutting traditional matching time by up to 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time. Yeah, up to 50%. It's substantial.
To really get that number, though, we need to know what the algorithm is actually looking at. What's it processing in real time?
Right. So the algorithms are analyzing this really rich, diverse stream of data and doing it simultaneously. You've got the usual suspects, resumes, skills assessments, that sort of thing.
Standard stuff.
Yeah.
Standard stuff. But the real differentiator, according to the source, is this third input: comprehensive behavioral data.
Okay, behavioral data, that term gets thrown around a lot. For our audience who are pretty savvy, what does that mean here? Is it just like how quickly someone clicks through an online form?
No, it's much more nuanced than that. We're talking about data gathered from interactions that actually assess traits relevant to the job itself.
Like what specifically?
Well, things like how someone performs on specific pre-employment simulations, results from psychometric tests maybe, even analyzing communication patterns during, say, digital interviews, but in a structured way.
Okay.
Essentially, it's pulling together all these data points that gauge things like professional attitude, problem-solving style, maybe work ethic.
Got it.
And by feeding this, much richer diet of information into the system, the AI delivers those matches in hours, not days. Hours, not days. That's the key phrase. That lets a company respond to an urgent need almost instantly.
Right. Market demand pops up, you're ready.
But, speed's great, but speed without quality is, well, it's just fast mistakes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the quality aspect comes down to two specific AI tools the source highlights. The first one helps figure out if the candidate will actually, fit in. Natural language processing.
NLP.
That's right. Natural language processing, or NLP. It's used specifically to evaluate cultural fit. And it's not just simple keyword matching.
No.
No, it's highly sophisticated linguistic analysis. The AI looks at the language used in, say, candidate resumes or cover letters, maybe assessment answers.
Okay.
And it cross-references that with documents that represent the company culture. Things like mission statements, value docs, maybe even the language used in performance reviews of top employees.
Huh. So the system is looking for linguistic similarity or value alignment based on word choice and how they structure their communication. It's almost reading between the lines to see if there's synergy.
That's a great way to put it. Reading between the lines for synergy. Yeah.
Okay. And the second critical component for quality.
That would be predictive models. These are really the engine of quality control here. They use the organization's own historical data.
Like what kind of data?
Things like long-term employee retention rates, performance review scores over time, tenure, data points like that. And it correlates that historical success data against the incoming candidate's profile and assessment results.
Okay, so if I'm running an agency, this means I'm not just finding someone who looks good on paper or might succeed.
Right.
I'm finding someone who based on potentially hundreds of past examples from this specific company, is statistically projected to be a high performer and stick around.
Precisely.
It turns the whole search process from like a manual sift into something that feels more like a super specialized predictive Google search, but tuned specifically for long-term hiring ROI.
That's a perfect analogy, actually. The output isn't just a candidate, it's a risk-mitigated hiring decision.
Okay, let's pivot a bit from the mechanics, the how, to the actual impact on operations. We've established the speed cutting time by 50%. Impressive.
Very. But let's move into the four big competitive advantages the source outlines, starting with the one that probably hits the bottom line most directly. Precision. Yes, advantage one, precision. And the number here, well, it's an absolute game changer for pretty much any organization. AI increases match accuracy by a staggering 35%.
35%. 35%. I mean, when you improve accuracy by over a third, you are directly slashing one of the single biggest hidden costs in business, the cost of a bad hire. And that cost is huge. Most HR folks quote, what, 6 to 9 months of salary to replace a mid-level employee? Sometimes more.
Easily. Sometimes even higher, depending on the role's complexity.
So a 35% accuracy boost isn't just a nice to have. It translates directly into massive quantifiable cost savings, better team stability, less time wasted on churn.
It absolutely does. It makes that hiring investment significantly safer, more predictable. Now, the next advantage deals with volume. Okay, a human team might be really precise with a small batch of candidates.
Sure, for one key role.
Right. But what if an organization needs to staff up thousands of new positions globally? Can the system keep up that quality? Which leads us perfectly into advantage two, scalability. It does. AI systems are sort of inherently designed to maintain that peak precision regardless of how big the candidate pool gets.
So it doesn't matter if it's screening 50 people for one director spot or 50,000 for a huge expansion.
The algorithmic quality checks, the rigor, remains identical. It effectively eliminates that quality drop-off you inevitably see when a human team gets overwhelmed by sheer volume and, frankly, burnout.
That makes sense. I also appreciate that the source highlights advantages that are more strategic, not just, tactical efficiency gains.
Which brings us to advantage number three, which is all about looking ahead. Market insight. Yeah, this is where the real strategic power starts to show. By constantly analyzing real-time data application trends, shifting job requirements, time to fill metrics across different industries,
All that incoming data.
all of it. The AI basically provides agencies with an early warning system. They gain this ability to anticipate skill shortages months, potentially, before the competition even realizes there's a scarcity brewing.
Okay, so they're not just reacting when the market screams, we suddenly need 100 cloud security engineers.
Yes, sir.
They might know 6 months earlier that demand is starting to spike, and they need to start building those talent pipelines now.
They shift from being reactive recruiters to predictive talent mappers.
Building the plane while others are still looking for the runway, as you said earlier. Something like that, yeah. They're building the capacity before the demand fully hits. And that brings us nicely to the final key advantage listed, which we have to circle back to, but maybe from a more strategic angle. Responsiveness, or speed, revisited.
Right, we talked about cutting time by 50%, but what's the strategic result of that speed that makes it a distinct advantage? Why list it again?
Well, it's not just about internal efficiency saving your team time. It's critically about the candidate experience and your competitive positioning.
Ah, okay. Think about it.
Yeah.
If your agency can deliver a near-perfect match recommendation and kick off the interview process within hours, while your competitor is still manually sifting through the first batch of resumes.
Precisely. That agency has a massive head start in actually securing that top-tier talent. The best candidates, as we know, they get snapped up fast. They're off the market quickly.
So this speed allows these forward-thinking firms to offer a better, faster experience to the candidate.
Which candidates appreciate. And lock them down before competitors can even get their initial offers finalized. It's like a competitive snatch and grab powered by AI.
That's a good way to describe it, a competitive snatch and grab.
Okay, so if we tie these four things together, that unmatched precision, the industrial level scalability, the predictive market insight, and that strategic responsiveness, it really paints a picture of significant competitive separation.
It really does. It's setting a completely new standard, a new high bar for talent acquisition. And speaking of separation, the source gives us some hard data on the industry impact happening right now. There's a really compelling statistic from a 2025 study looking at organizational performance.
Yeah, this number is hard to argue with. The findings seem straightforward, but incredibly powerful. AI-driven firms are filling 25% more roles than their competitors still using traditional methods. 25%, that's not a small edge. That's a massive competitive multiplier.
It's not just about filling seats. It directly translates to increased operational capacity, potential revenue generation, capturing market share. That gap, being able to hire one quarter more people effectively, that's what separates the leaders from the pack.
Is this happening everywhere, though? Is this adoption uniform across the economy, or are there specific sectors really pushing this forward?
It seems to be concentrated where the talent crunch is most acute. The source points specifically to the tech and healthcare sectors as really embracing AI talent matching enthusiastically.
Makes sense. High demand, specialized skills.
Exactly. These are fields where the demand for specialized talent often dramatically outstrips the current supply. So firms are pretty much forced to adopt technologies that streamline and speed up the finding process just to keep their services running and maintain any kind of growth.
So let's bottom line this. What does this all mean for the agency owner or the HR leader listening right now? If you haven't fully jumped into AI for matching, you're potentially operating at a 25% volume disadvantage right off the bat.
Essentially, yes. It strongly suggests this technology has moved past being just an interesting innovation or experiment.
It's table stakes now.
It's becoming fundamental for competitive viability.
Hmm.
The organizations leading the way are the ones strategically using this precision and scalability, not just to keep pace, but really to define the new landscape. They're getting higher quality hires faster. That's the definition of winning in this market. So to kind of synthesize that competitive edge into the core takeaways for everyone listening, we're really looking at this critical intersection of speed cutting that manual time by up to 50%,
Hmm. Precision getting that 35% boost in match accuracy.
which reduces bad hires.
Right. And the scalability that results from those two. That combination seems to have created a pretty definitive barrier for firms still stuck in the old ways.
Absolutely. And looking forward, the source projection is pretty clear. This isn't the end state. This evolution is ongoing. As AI keeps integrating even more real-time data, maybe even more advanced behavioral analytics, it keeps learning, keeps getting better. Talent matching is set to become even faster and significantly more precise than even the impressive numbers we've talked about today. It's an accelerating process.
It almost shifts the human role from finding the talent to maybe just confirming the talent the machine has already surfaced and vetted.
Well, that raises a really interesting question and maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to consider. Given that AI is already giving firms this 25% edge in just the number of roles filled,
Yeah.
and the tech is still speeding up, heading towards almost instantaneous and near-perfect matching, how radically will organizations need to change the kinds of roles they're hiring for? If the machine masters the complex matching part,
What's left for people?
what new, potentially higher-level strategic skills will humans need to bring to the table to compete, not just for jobs, but within a job market that's increasingly running at machine speed?
That's a challenging thought. Definitely touches on the future of work itself, something to mull over. Okay, that's all the time we have for this deep dive into AI and the new competitive edge in talent matching. Thanks for joining us.